Hello students, let us start the chapter number 1 in the subject organizational management and entrepreneurship. So myself Vijay Dilip Hugi, the lecturer in electronics and communication engineering department. So SJP Interest Polytechnic Nitsoshi. So the subject organizational management and entrepreneurship is written for the fifth semester electronics and communication diploma courses as per the new curriculum introduced with effect from 2017 and 18. So basically this course material, that is this subject organizational management and entrepreneurship, it mainly includes the topics like employment, what do you mean by entrepreneurship, so what are the management skills you have to learn, and what are the organizational safety, etc. So this serves as an useful reference to benefit the diploma students of other courses, including for the courses such as even for BCA, BBA, that MCA students, and as well as the BE students here. So this is a general subject, management subject. So that is very useful for every student, especially the technical students who are pursuing the technical education and who are in the final year, in irrespective of the branches, as they enter into the uh, new job. So there they require certain management skills or certain soft skills. So let us start with the syllabus. So the first chapter is management skills. The duration is 6 hours as per the syllabus. So let us look into the syllabus. We are going to discuss what do you mean by interpersonal skills, uh, that is know yourself and know others. Next we are going to learn SWOT analysis and its features. SWOT means strength, weakness, opportunities and threats. So later we are going to discuss what do you mean by intergroup communication, then art and barriers of communication, then functions, qualities and styles of leadership, then what do you mean by team and a group, and what is the difference between team and a group, what is team building, and comparison of team and group. So next we are going to learn what do you mean by management, the definition of management, and the Henry Fayol's principles of management. So then functions of management, then managerial qualities, then management skills applicable to private, public and government sectors. This is the overview of the first chapters, means this is the syllabus for the first chapter, that is management skills, which carries 6 hours. So let us start with the chapter management skills. So before starting the management skills, let us go through some of the basic things we require in order to learn management skills. We get a word like soft skill. You might have heard what do you mean by soft skill. Basically, the soft skills are a new trend and have opened new possibilities as successful management skills in recent years. So soft skills play an important role in the management of organizations, then corporate offices, business houses, especially those companies that directly deal with their customers, that is face to face. So in general, so many companies may grow excellent and make more profit if they train their employees to use these soft skills. So if I say soft skills, so first we should understand what do you mean by soft skill here. So now we are going to see what do you mean by soft skill. As the name indicates, the soft skills is not a visible skill, so like the domain content of a theory subject in a student, but soft skill certainly helps in improving the personality of the person. Uh, so soft skills gives a finishing touch to the personality. So technically if you're strong, if you know everything, but if you don't know how to convince the things to the other person, either to the person or to the group, then it is of no use. So there it requires what, a soft skill here. So indeed the soft skills are people skills that are intangible, that is untouched, non technical and personality specific skills. So the syllabus starts with interpersonal skills. So let us discuss what do you mean by interpersonal skills. The skills used by a person to communicate with others are called as interpersonal skills. So there are certain skills we must have in order to communicate with others, right? Such skills we call it as interpersonal skills. So for example, you might have heard, right, when you call a customer care through your mobile. So if you have any problems in the mobile, of if you want to ask anything, so you call a customer care. There you might have seen the way they are going to communicate with you people, the kind of languages they use, the kind of the soft words they are going to use, right? That is what interpersonal skill. So that is the skill required for every person in order to communicate with others. They are nothing but interpersonal skills. So interpersonal skills is a two-way process. That is, knowing how to talk and interact with others can play a significant role. A two-way process in the sense what? So it is what? Either a face-to-face communication or one-to-many communication. So that is what? There is a two-way communication. So if you say something, the other person will reply. That is what a two-way communication. So the interpersonal skills are basic abilities for all of us, whether we use them at work, business, or in a social life. So in today's job market and competitive workplace, managers or engineers and technicians can't succeed only on their in-depth technical skills, but they will also have to possess certain soft skill, and one such soft skill is interpersonal skill. So therefore, to some extent, employees work performance depends upon their ability to interact effectively with their co-workers, that is colleagues, including their boss. He may be a CEO, manager, or a director. So that means what? The interpersonal skills, they are required nowadays. I told, even though you are a good technical person, you are a manager or you are an engineer, but if you don't know how to communicate with others, how to convey the information with others, so it is of no use. So such skills you require, and one such skill is the interpersonal skill. So now let us look into the importance of interpersonal skills. So the interpersonal skill helps in conflict resolution. So if there is any conflict between the two persons or between a person and a group, so if you have a good interpersonal skill, so that will help to in resolving the conflict. Second, the interpersonal skill help make a good leader. So if you have a good interpersonal skill or a soft skill, then you can be a good leader. Third one, the interpersonal skill provides effective communication in workplace. That is important. And fourth one is the interpersonal skills are the key to building good relationship with your customers. So as I told, uh, even though you are in a good position, you are an engineer or you are a technical person or you are a manager, so you need certain soft skill. So such one soft skill is interpersonal skill. So now let us look into what do you mean by knowing yourself. So in Kannada they will say, right, ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬನ ಅರಿಯೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ನಿನ್ನನ್ನು ನೀನು ಅರಿತುಕೋಬೇಕಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. So that is what knowing yourself. So knowing yourself is a lifelong process. In other words, to understand others, it is quite necessary to understand yourself, right? So before understanding the other person, so first what you have to do is you have to understand yourself. So that is, you have to discover your own strength, right? You should know what are my strength and what are my weaknesses, and you should overcome your weaknesses. So the corporate life has become complex. You need to work with people of different region, religion, language, and culture. Therefore, to understand others, first you need to understand yourself. So it is impossible to understand others unless a person understood himself. So as we know, the corporate life has become what it is. It becomes huge and complex. So once you complete your degree or diploma, you go to a place where you find so many people from different parts of the country or different parts of the world. So they belong to what different religion, or they belong to different culture and language. So in order to understand such people, so first you need to understand yourself. So that is the concept, that is knowing yourself. So if you know yourself, you will be able to know your strength and weaknesses. Subsequently, you will be able to remove your weak portion. So next we will see what are the importance of knowing yourself. So first one is, it helps to control your emotions. Second, it helps to experience happiness and joy. If you know yourself, then you are a happy person. So right, wherever you go you feel happy. That is second point. Third one, it helps to reach your goals. And fourth one, it helps to improve relationships. Fifth, it helps to lead our life in a better way. And sixth one is, it helps to improve our personality. So there are certain process of knowing yourself. So let us look into the different process of knowing yourself. First one is maintain personal diary. So you might have seen certain some people, they maintain the personal diary. So what they are going to write in a personal diary is, mean whatever they are going to do in a day. So right, the important things or important information, the places where they visit, the person to whom they met, so everything they'll write it in a diary. Right, they'll keep a track of all the records from first day to last day. So that is what one method of knowing yourself. Second one is practice meditation. Right, in order to control your minds, right, you need yoga, you need a pranayam, you need a meditation. So that is what second one is, practice meditation. And third one is exercise regularly. So along with the mental health, you need you have to keep your physical fitness. Right, that is what if you do exercise regularly, can keep your physical body. Then fourth one is, go for walk regularly. So right, continuous walking helps you to know yourself. Then do some riding or driving. So some people have certain hobbies like driving or riding. So do some ridings, do some outings. So some people, they feel happy to visit some certain places. That is what some outings. Then develop some hobbies. Then last one is, develop some interest. This is what regarding knowing yourself. And next one is knowing others. So knowing others is as important as knowing yourself. So knowing others is gaining more importance nowadays, especially in the competitive world. So the importance of knowing others. So first one is, you can work with pleasure and not with pressure. Second, one can understand the values of others and care for each other. Third one, it will help team members to build confidence and trust each other. Then fourth one will minimize conflict and maximize efficiency. And fifth one is, there is no room for misunderstanding and wrong decision. So this is what the concept knowing yourself as well as knowing others. So before you know others, first you should know yourself, then you can succeed. Then comes the SWOT analysis. So I told the SWOT stands for what? Strength, weakness, opportunities and threats. So as you can see in the diagram, so I have marked strength and opportunities in the left side and weakness and threats in the right hand side. So the SWOT means, as I told, strength, weakness, opportunities and threats. While taking up any new startup in any organization or industry and business, the SWOT analysis is conducted for taking up useful decisions. They want to take some useful decisions in any of the startup companies or organization or industries, they are going to conduct a SWOT analysis. So basically, a SWOT analysis is a framework for analyzing your strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Mm, this helps to focus on your strength and to minimize the weakness. There are certain benefits of SWOT analysis. So that is, it is simple. So that is, it is easy to operate, then understand and practice at both individual level and corporate level. Second, it is scalable. So that is, it can be applied to small domestic plants to large multi projects like MNCs. And third one is, it is less expensive. And fourth one is inclusive, that is, outcome or results are realistic. So next we are going to see the SWOT analysis grid. So there you can see the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. They have written in a grid format. So that is, a SWOT analysis is typically created in a grid format with the strengths and opportunities listed on the left and the weakness and threats on the right hand side. So next we are going to discuss what we mean by communication and what are the art of communication. So we can define communication in different ways. So in technical terms, I can define communication as what, the exchange of information or the exchange of signal. Or in general, I can define communication as it is a process of transfer of information from one person to another person, that is, from sender to the receiver. And second, we are going to discuss what are the art of communication. So the art of effective communication are, first one is, you should know yourself. That is, a good communicator knows what he or she is talking about or writing about. Second, be focused. So that is, present your thoughts in a clear, crispy manner and to the point. Third one is, know your audience. So be aware of your target group, that is, to whom you are talking to. Then fourth one is, reach your audience. That is, we should bridge the communication gap between you and your audience. And fifth one is, say what you want to say in short, straight, and simple sentence. Next, be positive. Then believe in yourself. That is, have confidence in your words. And seventh one is, be straightforward, free, and frank. So apart from this, we can discuss so many the art of communication for effective communication. So that is, you should have clarity both in words and thought. So if you are speaking something, then you should have the clarity in words as well as a thought. Then you should avoid misunderstanding and misinterpretation. Then you should be accurate in all the respect. Then the manners make a man. So be in a right frame of mind. Then be aware of the words you are using when talking to others. That is very important. A good communicator always, he is looking what he is talking. So that is, we should be aware of what we are speaking when we are speaking with others. Then take time to listen carefully to what others are saying. So that is, listening skill. A good communicator must have a good listening skill as well. So that is what, when somebody is saying something, then you people must have a patience to listen it carefully. So once their turn is over, then you can speak. So these are what, some of the different art of effective communication. So next we are going to discuss what are the barriers of communication. So barriers, they are also called obstacles or hurdles. So although a communication is simple and straightforward process, there can be some hurdles or obstacles. They are called the barriers. So that may restrict smooth communication or easy flow of information. there are different types of barriers in communication. The first one is physical barrier. So as the name suggests, the physical barriers in the sense what? Separate working areas for people of different status. So that is partitions or separate cabins, etc. Sometimes you might have seen in a working environment, there are what separate working areas for the people belonging to different status, right? If there is a manager, he is going to sit in a separate cabin with some partition or separate this thing. And if there is that is assistant manager, he's having what separate cabin. So there will not be smooth communication between these two persons, because of the what, the physical barrier. So it may be a wall, or it may be a glass partition, or it may be anything here. So that is the first one. Second is perceptual barrier. So these can be due to wrong assumptions or misinterpretation about reality. So that is, what is seen is different from what is pursued. And third one is emotional barrier. So these can be due to emotional stress, means ಒತ್ತಡ, fear, that is anxiety, then mistrust, etc. So in many instances, what will happen? People will not start communicating till other person start speaking. As a result, many people hold back from communicating their thoughts and feeling to others. You might have seen such people, right? In, in your day-to-day life, right? Simply they will say, right? They'll wait for the other person to speak, right? Since think you people are going somewhere outside, and you find the unknown person next to you. Suppose I think you are traveling in a bus or a train, so there is an unknown person who is sitting beside you. So that person will think, why should I start speaking, right? What he will think is, let us start by the other person. So this should not be there. So right, in many instances it will happen. So people will not start communicating with others till the other person speak something. So that is what emotional barrier. And fourth one is cultural barrier. These can be due to different cultural backgrounds, that is what, traditions among team members. So it is difficult to adapt to culture of the different teammates. The next one is language barrier. So that is, this can be due to different spoken languages other than English, say state language. Then sixth one is gender barriers. So these can be due to distinct speech pattern differences among males and females. That is, it may be audio tone or melodious, etc. Seventh one is interpersonal barriers. Now these are due to less contact with people, rituals, reserved nature, etc., lead to maintain the distance themselves from others. So these are what, some of the barriers of communications. Barriers means obstacles or hurdles. So next session will be continued in the next class. Thank you.